Hello everyone, it's Lennon. Today I thought I would take you along as I do something, okay? What I'm going to do is build a temple, build an energetic spiritual temple to Baba Yaga, okay? It is the equinox, I'm home alone, I am feeling the change, I'm feeling the magic, and Baba Yaga has been calling me, like really heavy lately. So what I've decided to do on this equinox is actually take y'all along with me on the journey of building this spiritual temple to her, okay? And usually that just means that I start here with my marble slab, which is like my working slab, and just pull some things from whatever and be with her, okay? So right now it's an empty slate. What that means for me is I'm going to cleanse the space. Okay, it's an empty slate. So I'm going to take, I've got a little bitty piece of sage stick. I make these myself from the herbs in my garden. And Baba Yaga loves these because now a lot of herbs don't grow in the woodland. Okay, a lot of them do. But a lot of the herbs that I have in my garden don't necessarily grow in the forest. Now, how I've remedied this is I tend to like to use resins, and specifically tree saps, to kind of offset that for her. I'd love to get my hands on some actual woodland herbs, you know? So here we go. We're smoke cleansing this. I thought about pulling out some incense, but I don't think I'm going to. Since I'm smoke cleansing, I don't necessarily know if I'll pull out some incense. So right now, I'm just going to breathe into cleansing the space, emptying it, and allowing it to be the blank slate that I shall build the spiritual temple onto. It's going to be a magical foundation. Okay, and I've got my mortar and pestle here, which I mean, if you can tell how ashy it is, I tend to use this to house like my smoke cleansing materials. So my sage sticks and my Palo Santo, and now I have an iron, cast iron cauldron for like my charcoal discs, but like if I have like loose smudges, but I don't know. For the things that are like pieces, I tend to use my mortar and pestle. Well, my mortar, not my pestle. Just my mortar. So I'm just gonna chat. We're just gonna chat. The space has been cleansed, and it's become this magical foundation of right now it's just the foundation of the spiritual temple, and I'm usually building this in my mind, in my imagination. And I'll pull things from my witchy space over here in the corner and kind of build and fill into all the energies of everything and see how she's interacting with me through those objects and like calling me to grab. And then once I've done it, it's almost, it becomes like this spiritual devotion to her, right? Like it's a devotional act to build this temple. Now I can choose afterwards to commune with her, see if she has messages, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess you could say. Now I have collected some things for her. I collected this pine, this Y-shaped pine stick. I think I'll leave that here, right there. And then I've got this river rock. I love river and creek stone. I collect these all the time that I'm in a creek bed. They're so smoothed by erosion. There's just something special about this. And while Baba Yaga is a forest dweller, there's bound to be some kind of water source in her forest. And for me, that would be a creek. So I tend to love to offer her river rocks and creek stones. I have quite a collection, actually. So you might hear my voices over to the side because I'm going to feel into it. Now, I've never really taken you all along with me on this kind of collecting journey, this building journey, but I thought it would be kind of cool for y'all to see what goes into it. So right off the rip, I have some other things that I have collected in the woodland lately. And I usually keep them on my hand, on my clay hand that I made. I made this clay hand. And I usually keep if I've collected something and I want to give it to someone, until I'm ready for like a setting like this where I'm going to ritualize the giving. Okay. So I'm going to keep that off to the side because I'll probably place it somewhere once everything's built, I guess you could say. Now, I was called a little while ago to get my mugwort off of, I've got a couple of mugwort sticks that have dried. And I like the symmetry of that, of these two together. I like the symmetry, how this kind of plays like this. I'll keep that like that. Now this braid looks like a traditional witch. However, I plait for, I'll say I plait, knot, and weave for Baba Yaga. So actually I'm going to take these off because I'll probably put this underneath everything as another type of foundation. So let me do that. I need to do another one of these. I love this one. It's just, it's kind of worn. It's worn out from all my use. Yeah, like that. Okay, I'm going to place the mugwort on top. And then the pine. Now, one thing I love about Baba Yaga's domain is the skull fins. I've always been fascinated by that. And I'm feeling drawn to recreate that in some way. Almost like this spiritual temple becomes a gateway, and the gateway between me and Baba Yaga, of course, is this like skull and bone fence. And they all seem to glow from within, according to the story. So I don't know. I don't know how I'll recreate that, but I'm gonna think it up. Now, this is a powerful equinox for me, because as a moon witch, like one that really incorporates the moon phases into her craft, you know, like so many of us do, it's kind of special tonight because it's the equinox, it's the new moon, and an eclipse, and it's the 9th new moon of the year. So September is really this like heightened magical gateway for me. But right before we get to Samhain, we have this like beautiful equinox that's all about change, all about embracing the darker half of the year, right? And then we have this, it's usually the 9th new moon in September, if we don't have any like blue moons or black moons or any of that throughout the year. September's new moon offers us the 9th new moon. Now 9, or any number divisible by 3, really, technically, are sacred numbers to me and the spirits that I work with. And I will call her a divine feminine spirit for me. 9 is one of her sacred numbers. So this is just, it's like potent on top of potent on top of potent. I'm just feeling it all. And I was like, y'all, everybody needs to leave the house so I can be with Baba Yaga for a little while. So I'm probably going to pull. Now I have quite a few skull babies, okay, that I can play with, okay, that I can play with and hold and feel and love on them. So, but I house quite a bit in the ones that are kind of empty on the inside, like they're not solid resin or solid wood or solid candle. I keep things in there. So I'm going to take those out, take the things I've put in there out for now. I'll cleanse you later, okay? So I think he's calling me, okay? Now he's special. Oop, I got my hair in there, but I guess that's okay. It's part of the offering. He's special. I have not found another skull like him. He's a candle holder, okay? But if you look up a candle holder where the candle goes inside, you can't find them. I can't. I mean, if you've got some and you know where to look, like, please tell me below, because I need more of these. I would love to have 3, okay, but I only have this one. And he's been beat up. He's got some blunt force trauma, but it's okay. It adds to his charm, I guess. And he's missing some teeth, so he's been through the ringer. But the back of his skull comes off, and you can put a candle in it, okay? Now, it does say LED, but whatever. I mean, I can be a battery-powered witch, okay? I'm not opposed to that. But he's so special to me because I haven't been able to find one where the candle can light from within. Usually the candles would sit on the top instead of shining through the eye sockets. Is what is so sacred to Baba Yaga for me, is that I can shine the light inside and it shine out through the skull. And so that's pretty sacred to me. So what I'll probably do is light him up for the purpose of creating this like spiritual gateway that's going to shift us into the darker half of the year, right? And it's just like my heart feels so into this. I don't know. I've had a couple of dreams lately that I know, like I just intrinsically know that it was Baba Yaga calling me, because there was so much woodland, but so much like change symbolism. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was a lot of change symbolism. There was a lot of like spiritual transformation, like fire cleansing, where like you would burn down a forest to make it heal, things like that. It was so visceral, these dreams, these few that I've had. And one motif, I'll call it a motif, I'm not really sure, it's technically not a motif, but it's a personal symbolism to me, is the concept of bleeding trees. Now, I've talked about this actually a couple of times on the channel in various videos. I wouldn't even be able to know which ones to link for you, but I've had quite a few dreams since I was a kid about bleeding trees. And this can be real blood, this can be ichor, this can be all kinds of like trees crying, trees seeping. Now, I usually always kind of think about this in terms of industrialization, deforestation, getting rid of the rainforest, getting rid of the woodland in general for modernization, and how that, that triggers something deep inside of me that eventually we're going to live in a place where we won't have these like deep, dark, rich oxygen woodlands anymore. And that fills me with sadness, much like everything else in the world right now. So I had a bleeding tree dream, but this one felt different. I could tell it was Baba Yaga, and she was communicating with me. And the weirdest thing about this dream was that I kept having, like, I woke up thinking about sap. And it was like an epiphany. It was like a gong going off. I was like, okay, this is so cool that, this whole motif of the concept of bleeding trees could lead to this epiphany of sap, right? Now, trees that do sap, don't usually leak their sap. They do that in the spring, right? But as fall is, I consider that the fall, the last exhale before winter. And so here where I live, the trees will leak out one last, because it doesn't get terribly cold here. I think that's another reason why. But they'll leak out the pine trees, I'll say the pine trees specifically. The pine trees will leak out another layer of sap right before they go to sleep. Right? Now here, pines are the type of tree that they don't really go dormant per se. But it's like they're holding their breath. That's what I want to say. And so they do seep out some sap in the fall. And so I was just having all these thoughts about sap and everything. Now I have a humongous pine tree on my property, and one side of it has a giant vulva on it. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna share a clip with you, and you'll be able to see, like, it's huge. And on one side, it's got this like big vulva shape, where, I mean, lots of little insects love this little spot because it offers lots of protection from winds and other predators. It's like a little sneaky kind of a hiding spot. Spiders love it there. We have a lot of spiders. I can always tell when fall comes because the humidity lifts. And so we don't have any, it's still hot. It's like still 90 degrees Fahrenheit here, but there's no humidity anymore. And then all the spiders come out. So there will be, I'm telling you right now, as of this moment, there's 50 spider webs on my property, just everywhere. And they love that little spot, the little vulva. And that's where the sap seeps. So I hope the video is clear for you when you watch it. So what I've done is I've went and collected some things. I did collect this little cicada. I don't know if anyone's going to get the ick from this, but I'll show you quickly, okay? I collected this cicada. You probably saw him in the video. And as you can see, he had some flakes. If you can see him, like, right there. He had some flakes of this amber colored sap on him. So his little shell, I collected his little shell. Isn't he so cute? So anyway, there's him. What else? And I was going to show you that I did make a candle. Now I made this candle on the full moon in preparation for tonight. So the video I took of the clip of the vulva was the day of the full moon. And then I took a tea light, because usually that's how I work. And I collected some things around the yard in offering, in sacred offering to Baba Yaga. And so I'll share that candle with you. Now, this candle has some of my mugwort in it, some honeysuckles, the last of the honeysuckles for the summer, my salvia plant, which is an herbaceous plant. It's a hallucinogen that is in my garden, some lemon balm, and then I put some of the bigger pieces of sap in here. So when the candle is lit, it'll burn all of these sacred herbs and sap and like really give off this like really nice thing. So this is the candle that's going to go in him. I think I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing something. I don't know if I want to give her a cauldron. Let me come back over here because I think I'm missing something. Yaga, babushka, babushka. Oh, my bones. What am I talking about? Thank you. Thank you. Yes. She likes bones. So, which ones do you want? You want the big ones? Oh, here we go. I got 3 big ones. And I'll put them around. I'll put them around like this. I actually cleaned these bones myself. Let's see if I can put him there. And I've actually got a video of me cleaning these bones. And I'm like talking about primitivism and primal forces and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. All right, now let's put the feather here. Let's put that feather right there. It's lovely. I think I'm going to put the cicada inside the skull, like it's a secret. And then I'll just dump that sap onto his head. Put that hand back because it doesn't belong over here anymore. Isn't this beautiful? This is so beautiful. Now, this also marks a bigger, not a bigger, but a big change for me as well. I'm sitting with the energies. I'm trying to build the temple, also the spiritual temple, like through this in my mind while also talking to you. So I might go silent for a little bit. But this also marks a different kind of change for me, because the summer, as my friend Megs lovingly shared a blog post with us all about how we need to know what our fallow season is, like when we go dormant, when we hibernate, when our soul hibernates. And I'll leave the blog post below. Please go read it. And it was, again, like a gong going off in my system, because I was like, summer has always been that time for me where I don't want to be active spiritually. I'm very dormant, and sometimes I beat myself up. Some years I beat myself up about, the summer, I don't really want to deal anything with spirituality. I just really want to like give a rest, but then I beat myself up for not keeping up with it. Now I'll keep up with the, like what I'll consider my normal foundational work, like moon phases, devotionals to spirits and stuff like that. And doing what I normally do in terms of my gifts, like my poetry and art and things like that. But I'm really dormant in the summer and the late spring. And so that's my fallow. Summer is my fallow season, right? So I'll say spring and summer. And I tend to awaken on the equinox. Now, the equinoxes themselves, both respectively, offer sacred portals for me. So the autumn equinox and the spring equinox offer this opening and closing, respectfully. And I put Persephone in the spring and then awaken Baba Yaga in the autumn. And that's just really how I've been doing it with my practice lately. And I'll say for the last couple of years. So anyway, this marks an awakening. This marks an actual awakening. And the babushka always tends to come to me at this time in September. I'm so busy. I've got many birthdays in my immediate family, like my son and my husband's birthday, and a couple of people in like my immediate family are like September birthdays, and there's like family traditions in that month. And I don't know, it's just a busy time for us, but I always seem to feel her this time of year. The goldenrods come out, the ragweed comes out. I get some kind of allergic reaction for a few days where I'm like kind of down and out about my allergies. And then I'll just start getting dreams, and I'll start getting messages from her. And it reminds me that I need to erect these temples, these to be able to have this kind of sacred communion with her. And she kind of like, it's like a nudge. She's like, okay, can you come back to the forest? Because it's time. It's not so much like I miss you, like a loving grandmother. No, it's more like okay, you need to get back to the forest because it's time to wake up. It's almost like she rings out her voice in the forest, and I'm deep in the cave in my hibernation time, and it's like her voice wakes me up. So I just wanted to share that with you all today. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave. I got dirty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up and commune with her after this, but I want to share something that I came up with this year, and it's like a tarot spread. Okay, now this is directly linked to Baba Yaga. So if you're a follower of hers, or maybe you want to call out to her this time of year and just kind of see, feel her out or whatever, you can use this spread. But what I've done is I've came up with this incantation, and I want to pull 3 cards for her 3 horsemen. Now, according to the stories and the mythos surrounding Baba Yaga, the 3 horsemen are red, white, and black, just like this cord, okay? And they are, I don't want to call them her minions, okay? But as a witch that's also been obsessed with time, these are her time wizards. I consider them her time wizards. They're her time horsemen. Each horseman represents a time of day. So there's dawn, noon, and dusk. So these 3 times of one day that could span the course of time, and it really like links us to what time is, what time isn't, and the importance of what one can accomplish in a day, even in our fallow seasons, even when we're seemingly unproductive. And Baba Yaga has taught me a lot about productiveness and laziness and rest and duty. So because Mags was the one that awoke me to the concept of the fallow season, I have been thinking I'm really going to use this Secret Garden Tree Whisper to pull the 3 Horsemen cards. Now she has, her original Tree Whisper Oracle is the autumn version, and then she has a winter version. But I was called to use the Secret Garden as we are shifting into autumn. We're not in autumn yet, especially here where I am. We're not technically in autumn yet. So I'm going to use this, which is the Secret Garden Summer Edition, to really help me figure out what changes are coming. Okay, so anyway. And you can use any oracle deck for this. Or tarot. You could use tarot. So I'm going to shuffle, and I'm going to call out this incantation. Now, this incantation I shared with Baba Yaga first on the full moon when I wrote it, because I build a lot of components like through various moon phases, right? So it's not like I'm coming up all this on the fly today. So I try to build it throughout the course of the moon cycle. So I wrote this on the full moon, and I shared it with her. So she's heard it first. And it's kind of like I got permission to share it with all of you because of how simple it was, and it was going to become a tarot spread for me and my soul. It's not a direct communion with her. So the messages that I get from these cards aren't necessarily going to be from her. They're just going to be about the future season. So I guess it was, it was kind of okay that I'm sharing it because it's not that she's going to be communing with me through these cards. And I don't know, maybe she will. Maybe something will come up like that. I don't know. But I'm going to stick with it and commune with her afterwards, after I get off the line. So, okay. Baba Yaga from the wood, share the wisdoms of changes not withstood. Old soul of the forest, share the wisdom from the timberland chorus. Hag one, I call thee, share the wisdom of your horses 3. Okay, here's the first card. And I'll put that right there, just so y'all can see. Let me do it again. Baba Yaga from the wood, share the wisdoms of changes not withstood. Old soul of the forest, share the wisdom from the timberland chorus. Hag one, I call thee, share the wisdom of your horses 3. And there's the second one. That one dropped on the ground. And I'll show you these cards up close in a minute. Okay, last one. Baba Yaga from the wood, share the wisdom of changes not withstood. Old soul of the forest, share the wisdoms of a timberland chorus. Hag one, I call thee, share the wisdom of your horses 3. Now, the beautiful part about this spread is that I didn't pull a card for the horsemen specifically. So it's my job to figure out which card's going to be the dawn, which card's going to be the noon, and which card's going to be the dusk. And it's kind of like I'll build on that to figure it out and possibly use these 3 cards as a jumping off point for the rest of the season. So yeah, those are my cards. And I can interpret them as I want. Like this could be the these are the horseman's messages to me, right? So I love that. There's a lot of magic here. There's a lot of magic. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot of, what do I want to say? Like grieving times. Like it's not like I pulled a tower card or something. So, you know, thank goodness for that. Now, nostalgia does make me think that this time of year will make me think of some things, and that could make me sad. You know, as the holidays approach and things like that. And then imagination, that always has a positive association with it. And then simplicity, you know, simplifying the holidays. So, okay. Well, that is it. I'm going to get off of here and pull out another deck to commune with Baba Yaga, and then light my candle and do all this kind of over again in my temple space. But I wanted to share the process with you guys. And I don't know, did you feel her? Did she talk to you while I was doing this? Did she come say hey through the radio waves? Let me know below. Okay. I hope wherever you're at, late spring, early autumn, whatever, wherever you're at in the world, I hope that you're embracing some change, and it'll be a smooth change. Here's hoping for a smooth change for us all as we go into whichever time of year we're in. So, hope you're having a magical day. Talk to you soon. Much love.